Welcome to 8.2. Our lesson essential question is, how can I use tangent and inverse tangent to solve for unknown sides and angles? So we're going to go to GeoGebra. We did this in class, but I wanted to make sure we fully understand it. So tangent from last class is opposite over adjacent. So I can take this tangent ratio of 0.75 over 0.66, and I can find that that ratio is equal to 1.13 in its simplest form. Then I can take this and I can say, oh, let me dilate this. Now, while these sides are getting bigger, the ratio stays the same. And we know that this computer is telling me that it's 48.51 degrees. So no matter what the triangle becomes, I can make it super big or even I can make it smaller. As long as the ratio is 1.13, I will know that the tangent, the angle of my reference angle is 48.51. So I can change this to one that we already know. I can make this an isosceles triangle. So I'm going to say that we're going to go to 0.7 and 0.7. Oh, almost there. 0.71, 0.71. That's going, oh, that's then my, I guess also 0.74. That's going to give me a tangent of 1, and they're telling me that it's 44.93, which will round to 45 degrees. So the tangent ratio is just someone somewhere figured out that anytime this side opposite over adjacent equals a number, that the similar triangles will all have the same angle. So to review, SOHCAHTOA, we're dealing with tangent opposite over adjacent. And before we start doing any calculations, I gotta tell you something very important. There are 2 units to measure angles. One is radians, one is degrees. Radians is something we'll learn about in the next couple chapters. So right now we want to make sure our calculator is only set into degrees. So you're going to hit the mode button right here, and you're going to see a screen like this. And you're going to want to make sure you move the cursor over to degrees and hit enter. If you're in radians, you are going to have the wrong answer. And you're going to want to check your calculator every time, because other kids in my other math class, specifically calculus, all their answers have to be in radians. So if you get the calculator and someone in calculus had just used it, you have to check it and make sure you go to degrees. So let's jump into how we can do some specifics. So solving problems with tangents. You have used the Pythagorean theorem to solve for an unknown side length in right triangles given 2 of the sides. In this activity, you will explore how you can use the tangent ratio to solve for unknown sides given an angle and a length. So here we go. Let's pretend we are standing at the base right here. It says 2 proposed wheelchair ramps are shown. Determine the unknown measurement. So if I need to have a 4% grade to be in code for a wheelchair ramp, and I have a 20-inch high ledge, how far out does the ramp have to go? So I'm going to write out tangent of 4 equals opposite over adjacent, and opposite is 20, so I have the tangent of 4 equals 20 over A. I want to get A by itself, so I'm going to cross multiply and get A equals 20 times the tangent of 4. Now, 20 is a number. Tangent of 4 is actually a number. So where do I find what that number is? Well, I'm going to go to my calculator, hit the tangent button, type in the number 4, then I'm going to hit times 20, and I'm going to get that it is 1.398. And I realized that is wrong because I should have divided, and that didn't make any sense, because this side would have to be clearly longer than the 20. So I'm going to do 20 divided by the tangent of 4. Put that in my calculator, we should get a number that is much more reasonable. Okay, so I get 286 inches. That makes more sense. Okay, got this other one. So I have the tangent of 4 equals opposite over adjacent. Opposite is my unknown, so I'm going to put my y there. And my adjacent is 100. Now, for this one, I don't need to cross multiply. That would then have the tangent of 4 on the bottom. I just want to get y by itself. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to multiply by 100. So y equals 100 times the tangent of 4. Put that in the calculator. Remember, tangent of 4 is a number. And that's going to give me 6.99. So I'm going to say that's 7 inches for y. Now it's important that I don't just type in tangent of 4. Tangent of 4 is 0.699268119. If I rounded this to 0.7, then multiplied by 100, I still would get 7, but if it was a really big number, like 10,000, I'm going to change my final answer. So I don't ever want to type, I always want to use the trig function tangent of 4 in the calculator, and it won't round off all this other stuff. Okay, so we have the inverse tan. So this is when I'm used to find an acute angle. Before I was using tangent, I found an unknown side. So I'm going to use the inverse tan or arctan of x is measured of an acute angle whose tangent is x. When you know the length of any two sides of a right triangle, it is possible to compute the measure of either acute angle by using the inverse tangent button, which looks like this on your graphing calculator. Now, this is an inverse function of tangent, and you've done inverses before. If I had 3x and I want to find what x is, I would do the inverse of multiplication, which is division. If I have x squared and I want to find what x is, the inverse of 2, or being squared, is square root. So when I have a tangent of x, I want to get x by itself, I would just apply the inverse tan. Those two things cancel out, and x is by itself. So let's try one. Okay, so I have this picture. I want to calculate E. So E is my reference angle. That's where I'm standing. I have opposite and adjacent. So I'm going to use the tangent. Tangent of E equals 3 over 8. Well, how do I get rid of E? I have to inverse tan. That cancels. So E is now the same thing as inverse tan of 3 over 8. And if I look at my calculator, I can see tan, and then I hit the second button, and I see this, tangent, -1 parenthesis. I just put in 3 over 8, and I get 20.55, so I'll say 20.6. And that's going to be this, and that's going to be in degrees. Okay, so you pause the video and you guys try this one. Okay, welcome back. So you guys should have gotten the tangent of x, and if I'm standing here, my opposite and adjacent will be 37 over 85. How do I undo tangent? I inverse tan it. So I'm going to put in my calculator inverse tan of 37 over 85. Put that in real quick. And I get 23.52. So we'll say 23.5 degrees is what angle x equals. So that is the end of this video. Can I solve for unknown sides and angles. Well, hopefully I can. Tangent, remember, does sides, and I'm going to use angles. I'm going to use inverse tan.